está en ello. Good afternoon, everybody here. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so delighted to introduce you to Centre National de Musique, Lithon, and Marion Rampal. Today we have invited friends to be part of this edition of FeminaJazz, and in collaboration with Centre National de Musique, and doing it online due to the COVID situation. But we didn't want to lose the opportunity to introduce in this occasion, Marion Rampal as an amazing artist from France. Welcome, Lison and Marion, and please, let's start with Lison, because I would love for those who don't know the Centre National de Musique, if you can explain what is it and how do you support artists in France?
Of course. First, hello everyone, and thank you, Beatrice, for the introduction and for inviting me to take part in this panel as part of FeminaJazz. So my name is Lison Lavaux, and I am International Project Manager at the CNM, Centre National de la Musique, which is a French public-private organization aiming to support and promote the French music sector nationally and internationally through financial but also non-financial services. Maybe I will talk about it later. It was created in January 2020 by law, actually, but became fully operational almost 1 year ago with the integration of 5 pre-existing structures, among them the French Music Export Office, which supported the international development of made in France artists, and where I used to work before, but not only for their support organization. Also, we're integrated to the CNM, covering different aspects of music sector, like live music, live entertainment, independent retailers, creation, distribution, research, information, even training for the music sector. So you can understand that we represent the entire music sector in all its diversity in terms of aesthetics, from jazz to classical music, to world music, to rock, to pop and electro, but also the various stakeholders, from artists to songwriters to labels, to music publishers, concert promoters, venues, managers. So maybe more concretely, how do we support them? First, the CNM has 12 big goals, big missions to support the French music industry, such as innovation, knowledge, creation, information and training, heritage, artistic and cultural education. I'm not going to quote every mission, but to focus on the missions that interest us the most today. I mean, international and Europe, and of course, gender equality within the French music industry. So I'm not going to talk about all the supports of the CNM, because we have more than 30 funding programs today, and also several non-financial supports such as consulting, networking events, training, workshop, resources, etc. But I'm going to focus on how we support the Made in France artists to develop their projects internationally, which is more my scope. But maybe before that, I just would like to remind that the CNM was created 2 months before the COVID crisis. So we had to adapt very quickly to the context. And we were able to create a lot of specific emergency funding programs to support all the sector and the stakeholders, which was quite important for all the sector. So maybe more concretely on how do we support the Made in France artists internationally. I've mentioned briefly the French Music Export Office. So basically the CNM takes on the activities and services of Le Bureau Export, the French Music Export Office. We are also a member of the European Music Exporters Exchange, EMI, which is a non-profit organization made up of 28, I think, national and regional music export offices from 24 countries. And so basically, regarding international development, our mission is twofold. Advising on the part international professionals interested in Made in France artists, and supporting the French music professionals to develop their projects abroad by different services. So first one is consulting about their international strategies and helping them to create connections with international professionals. We have a team of 4 international project managers based in Paris. So 1 for classical music, 2 for what we call popular music, which means pop, rock, electro, even world music, and 1 for jazz, so myself. And we have also 2 colleagues in Berlin and a network of consultants in the UK, in the US, and also 3 regional musical attachés based in South America, another one in Asia, and another one in Africa. So it's quite a big network. And so first consulting, then we are also involved in different events and fairs in France and abroad, such as Jazz Ahead, for example, which is the big event for jazz in Europe, where we coordinate the participation of the French participants, but also in WOMEX, for example, which will take place next week, actually in Porto. So we will organize a sort of pitch and breakfast session. This is like a kind of relaxed way to connect some international professionals and the 12 Made in France artists showcasing at WOMEX this year. We also attend different, no. We also attend different fairs around the world, such as Jazz I Am. I'm sure some of you may know, in Barcelona. Actually, I was member of the jury last year, but also MAPAS, for example, in Spain, in Islas Canarias. We have a sort of partnership with them to support 2 Made in France showcases this year, but also Jazz Congress and other one. We also invite some international professionals to attend events in France and to connect them with French artists, such as New Deal in La Philharmonie de Paris, or Jazzra, who will take place by the end of November in Clermont-Ferrand. And sometimes we organize some special events. For example, Jazz Expo Days this year that we organize as part of a French festival called Jazz sous les pommiers in Normandy. Marion was selected to take part to this showcase this year. Actually, originally, it was supposed to happen in May 2020 with the invitation of 35 international professionals from Europe, Asia, US. But of course, because of the pandemic and the context we all know, we had to adapt and to create a new format, a hybrid event with the 8 showcases programmed as part of Jazz sous les pommiers, so by the end of August, and digital parts with online speed meetings between the representatives of the 8 showcases, and also we've created like short epica video introducing each artist, and which were filmed during the festival Jazz sous les pommiers. And maybe also, of course, in these strange times of COVID, we had also to adapt. We couldn't make all these events for real. So in May 2020, I think we decided to launch a series of digital events called From Home Expo Days to continue making connections between French and international professionals, which was very important. And for example, we organized a jazz focus on Asia. So we organized market presentations on Japan, Korea, and China. We organize speed meetings between Asian professionals and French artists and professionals. And we even organize 3 showcases in partnership with Jarazum Festival in Korea. So these are like quite examples of what we are doing in terms of events and fairs. But also maybe to finish quickly, our team is also working on market research resources to help the French artists in their international development. We have a newsletter every week to send practical information to help them. We have also a brand, What the France. This is like a playlist and events brand to recommend the French artists internationally. This is more a B2C brand, and we have a dedicated website for that, translated in 5 languages. So this is also a way for us to promote the artists internationally, but dedicated more to the audiences and not only professionals. And last but not least, we have also funding programs. And for jazz specifically, we have 2 committees per year, and the artists and their professional entourage, so agents, bookers, managers, labels, can apply to get support for touring, of course, for showcase, for international, to invite international professional in France. Well, different things.
Wow. Yvonne, I mean, it's impressive. And I wish we could have something just like similar or just like a little close to what do you have in France. Congratulations. I mean, it's incredible. I would like to know a little bit more. What are the Centre National de Musique strategies to help and support specifically women in jazz?
Yeah. So first, I'm going to talk about global strategies of the CNM, because we are not only dedicated to jazz music, but we cover all aesthetics. So as I said, as an introduction, among its numerous missions, the CNM is interested with acting to create a safer music environment and promote an equal access of women and men to the musical profession. So for that, we have a dedicated gender equality unit, a team, to ensure this mission. And actually, they have a large scope of action. They are managing like a gender equality project grants, for example, to support professional structures developing projects specifically related to gender equality, or the prevention of gender-based and sexual violence in the music sector. So different kinds of projects actually can be supported, like training programs, visibility of women in the music industry, actions of sensibilization, mentoring, which is very important, and professional accompaniment, or even studies, etc. So we are also collecting and analyzing data on female representation. And we are also developing tools, and we participate in different actions to achieve gender equality through dedicated events or webinars. And maybe I could add that for several months, we've been developing an internal and external CNM policy related to gender equality. The CNM signed the Key Change Pledge for more diversity and gender equality in the music sector. So we have to, concretely, it means that we have to respect parity in our board, but also in other governing bodies and committees, for example, among the members of the jazz funding program, for example. And also every company who applies for grants has to sign a protocol against sexual harassment and violences, and they had to receive training on the prevention of sexist and sexual inequalities. So these are like the the first global strategies of the CNM, and now related to jazz women specifically, apart from striving for parity in the jazz export committee, or when we have to select artists for showcase or speakers for conferences, for example, we've not yet developed specific actions for jazz women, but it's true that the representation of female artists in jazz is a big issue. And on that point, I'd like to mention a study, a survey on the representation of women and men in jazz, which was made 2 years ago by several French networks and federations, actually, including AJC and Grand Format.
Yeah, I read it. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And AJC is a network of festivals, venue, which is working a lot for international collaboration too. And Grand Format, which is a network of large ensembles, which also created a European network. There are 2 other networks in that, but I just like to mention these 2 who are doing a lot for international collaborations. And so I invite you to read the studies, even it's in French, but there are a lot of numbers who are very parlant to get a picture of that. And maybe one number, for example, 78% of the artists programs, jazz artists programmed are men, 7% are women, and 15 are mixed, so women and men. So it's quite like
yeah, this is actually how FeminaJazz started. We did a research between the main important jazz festivals, and it was like really interesting how percentages, I mean, it was like that was in 2014. We repeated it in 2018, expecting that something would change, and it was like partly the same percentages. And so yes, this is why FeminaJazz is here, and this is why we are all here.
exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Lison.
And maybe if I can add just one thing more about the European scale, I just would like to mention that the CNM is also a member of European Jazz Network, who is very, very active on that topic, and has been working for years to improve gender balance in the jazz and creative music sector through working groups, collecting data, resources. They've also developed a gender balance manifesto for jazz and creative music, and they've also launched more recently an online initiative for the International Women's Day in collaboration with several magazines, radio programs, web portals across Europe. So yeah, just to add to
yes, my exactly. Yesterday, actually, we were talking. We had a Spanish gathering meeting panel online for FeminaJazz, and we were part of the board of directors of Plataforma Jazz España, which is the festival association from Spain. And we were talking specifically about the work of EGN, which is really interesting what they're doing in terms of gender balance. And as well, we are part of the association, and we just started like recently, and we're super excited about that.
Yeah.
So again, thank you so much, Lithon. We're going to continue with Marion Rampal. I'm super excited and super honored to have you here, Marion. Just little resume: singer and songwriter, born in Marseille. She started following her love for rock and folk music as a leader of different bands when she met saxophonist Raphael Imbert. In 2009, her first solo album, On Virago, came as a detonating surprise set by the critics. Today, she is with us to talk about the current jazz scene in France. Please welcome Marianne, please, dentro video.
Vouloir un jour plus doux que les heures d'ici, un jour d'antan ou de moi qui fuit, diable aux yeux. Tu vales la peine, mais trop loin, au loin. Il y a mieux là, sous les étoiles qui montent au bord du vide, d'autres soleils d'amour et d'ombre mélangés qui commencent à briller.
Well, amazing, right? Thank you so much, Marianne. I would like to ask you, your music mixes up different styles in your way of singing and as a composer, in which what for me is a very intense trip. How did you get there?
I guess I traveled through many different influences and I couldn't make up a choice. You know, it's not like marriage. You're not supposed to be faithful in music, right? So I just made my way through that. Although all those music that influenced me and that moved me are quite related, I think. And I love to explore the relationship between cultures, traditions, how some musicians got influenced by particular traditions, and they kind of they made it public or they made it more famous, like Harry Belafonte, what he did with Jamaican music, traditional music, for example. And my main idea for years has been to explore the ways of the blues and how blues expression can come to, you know, through different aspects or different feelings, different sounds. And then I also focused on what I would call European music. So it can be cabaret or French classical songs or French cabaret songs, Berlin cabaret, and also the blues cabarets from Northern America. So I'm interested in all those traveling musics and how they can, you know, influence each other. And I try to put all that in my compositions.
Wow, amazing, great. And I would like to ask you, we're in FeminaJazz, so it's just like a question that, you know, we always do to all of our guests. But before that, we would love to continue enjoying you, Marion Rampal. Dentro video.
Our project and our album too is called Le Secret. Le Secret is the name of a very old French melody by Gabriel Fauré on a poem by Paul Verlaine. And we chose also this name because we believe we found our little secret in our way to interpret all the songs that we present.
We do free French song, let's say. So we start from 19th century, Fauré, Debussy, but then we're going into la chanson française, the répertoire of chanson française. So it could go to to Léo Ferré, Pierre Barou.
Y'a rien que des grues qui font le pied de grue sur les docks ou les quais. Si t'as pas ton ticket, t'as plus qu'à te foutre une tringle. Pour danser la java des buffets à l'endroit, à l'envers, à Londres ou bien en vert, y a pas besoin d'être bilingue.
When we work on a song, we fantasize having a tea with the composer. And we would ask him, what was the dream of the piece? And what's the secret story behind it?
À Marseille, à midi, un cargo m'a souri pour la semaine. Il s'en va à Java.
Pierre-François and I, we've been playing together for years, not only as a duo, but collaborating together on many projects. We've been accompanying Archie Shep for years, also playing with the great Argentine plays accordion, Raúl Barbosa. And we also play in my band. Many times we played with classical musicians also. So we have a kind of duo that is always moving through different collaborations.
Great, amazing. Thank you so much, Marion, to let us know you a little bit more. So yeah, now just the last question, and I would like to know if did you find in your career any obstacles as a woman in the jazz scene in your country, in any other country that you've been working? Please let us know a little bit.
I think my career kind of evolved quite slowly. So back in the days, I can't really analyze now if some things were blocked because I wasn't ready enough or I wasn't mature as an artist. Or maybe also because as a woman, 10 years ago, I was offered much less possibilities to do my job, to express my way of doing things. And the doors were less open than now. Let's admit that. And now the doors are more open. And I turned 40 and I've been there for 20 years and I kind of know my way through that now. So it's easier for me. But yeah, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, it was a bit harder when you were also a leader. As a singer, you're a leader to your own project often. I was lucky enough to have many projects as a side musician, as a singer invited on other people's projects. And I was always treated very kindly. I was lucky enough to work with good people, women or men, mostly men. That's what Lison said. Most of the orchestras and the bands are, made of male musicians. So it's getting better now to get acquainted with more and more women on the scene, especially young women. There are several young women instrumentists, playing instrument in the jazz schools now. You see more and more younger and younger women and girls, starting trumpet, double bass, whatever. And maybe
that's just like a little and it's amazing because I think young artists and young students can look at you because you have like a longer career and be a reference for them, because now I think we start to have references, musicians, singers, instrumentalists, where younger kids and younger students, they can look and in a way, like, get motivated.
Yes, as a singer, I was feeling quite comfortable because in jazz, the archetype of the singer is a woman in a red dress, right? And she's very sexy. And so I was acquainted to that. I kind of embraced the thing, though I'm not the typical jazz singer that you can see in a cliche, but you have to cope with this. You have to cope also with all the let's say all the sexual aspects of voice and of singing in front of an audience with just a microphone and just your body as an instrument. So it's difficult to get to that through the years, and you have to to get acquainted to it, and you do it in front of men. So it's quite, it's quite difficult to navigate, right? To keep friendly relationships, professional relationships. So what I think is that now seeing young women playing instruments, that's interesting, because it changes the whole perspective, and it changes our unconscious, our projection of what we, for example, a young kid now seeing jazz bands with more women playing instruments. It's good because they can, especially the young girls, they can project themselves. It's important that they can identify themselves to these musicians, these female musicians. But still, it's a tough job, and being a woman is tough in this world. It's when you have to, also, if you want to be a mother, if you want to have a family life and you're a musician, it's quite hard. So it's harder on women, I think, to have a career in jazz. It's still hard.
Totally. I mean, from all the meetings and panels that have been assisting, and the panels that we've been doing in FeminaJazz, one of the things that it always come to the scene is like to be a mother and a musician and to do tours is very difficult. And sometimes women, we don't have like enough support. Maybe partners, maybe state, public institutions, I don't know, to continue working and being able to be responsible and taking care of our kids. So it's, I think it's our responsibility anyway. It's the responsibility for the entire humanity. It's not only the mom who gives birth, it's like this human being is going to be part of a society, he's going to pay taxes, and so why not to be all responsible for growing up our kids. Well, thank you so much, Lison and Marianne. Actually, we're going to have like another panel online, which is going to talk about what's going on in the northern countries. And I'm very curious because I know that in some of the northern countries, there's like even laws, like they just like, you're not allowed to have like an entire programming without like 50%, but I'm not sure. So I'm like super excited to know about what's going on in Denmark, in Sweden, and in Iceland. We're going to have some artists and representatives of festivals there. And so I invite you also to assist next week. It's on 26, I think, in the afternoon. So again, thank you so much, Lithon and Marianne. I don't know if you have anything else to say, to add into this amazing opportunity to share with us this time.
I would have something to say about those quotas, though, but I'm going to be the troublemaker here.
Okay, good.
Because for the young girls, for the young musicians starting on the scene, they are getting put front line all the time, because you need to have more women in the bands, and they are good and they can do it, but it puts a lot of pressure when you're 20, 25, and in jazz, it takes years to get a maturity and a language. I think it takes a long time, unless you're a shooting star, but it's still rare. So it's hard because it puts young women under a lot of pressure, and they have to prove that they are good enough to be there, that they are not there because you needed 40 or 50% of women in the band. And I'm afraid of the backlash of this, because the young male musicians of 25 who are very talented, they deserve also to be funded for their projects. So I hope the politics that we choose now are not going to be, counterproductive in terms of good spirit in the.
Yeah, the idea, we were talking yesterday also about that. We were talking about like our vision for the quite closest future is to have everything normalized. So programming can be like, but I think right now, this is why FeminaJazz exists. We need to push. We need to.
Yes, it's we
need to. Okay, Litha, do you have anything else to say? Okay, so again,
No,
thank you so much.
Just to say thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's been a pleasure to be collaborating with the Centre National de Musique Lython, with presenting Marion Rampal, amazing artist from France that I really wish and hope that next year or in the next edition, we're going to have the possibility to have you in person. And what else? We would love for the audience to enjoy again Marion Rampal with this last amazing video. Thank you so much and see you soon. I hope Womex, Lison, maybe? Yeah, see you there.
Dans ce grand Paris, si loin de mon pays, de longs mois, oui, j'ai vécu ainsi qu'un oiseau perdu. Je cherchais en vain à oublier mon chagrin. Maintenant, je sais ce que j'étais. Sans amour, sans une seule caresse, sans amour, sans l'ombre d'une tendresse, sans un cœur pour partager ma détresse, nul espoir d'être bercé chaque soir. Sans une seule caresse, sans amour, sans l'ombre d'une tendresse, sans un cœur pour partager ma détresse, nul espoir, pas d'espoir d'être bercé chaque soir. Je ne regrette pas ma savane et mon ciel de là-bas, ma forêt, mes ruisseaux, la chanson des roseaux. ce qui faisait ma tristesse.